Good morning and rise and shine trainers, welcome to the world of Pokemon. You're listening to Professor Noki, and today we have some crazy things to discuss. For starters today, we have a little bit of old news to go over, something that I haven't actually covered as of yet, which is the file size of Pokémon Sword and Shield. When compared to other games from this franchise, such as Ultra Sun and Moon, which came in at 3.6 gigabytes, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee at 4.1 gigabytes, it is very plain to see that these definitely will be the largest Pokemon games we have ever played by far. Not to mention, it is definitely important to note that Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game that is massive in scope and has almost endless explorable capabilities, is 13.4 gigabytes in size, only a few gigabytes larger than Sword and Shield. Now, I'm definitely not saying that I think Sword and Shield are going to be as large as Zelda is overall in grand scope in comparison. However, this definitely does point to the fact that these games are going to be massive, and there are going to be so many things to discover, explore, and uncover once we dive in. Moving along though to a bit of more recent news, we have the information coming out that there will not actually be connectivity between Pokemon Sword and Shield and Go directly. As some of you may know, the most recent titles, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, included functionality that allowed you to directly connect to your smartphone device and transfer Pokemon from your Pokemon Go game into Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It was not backwards compatible, meaning you weren't able to transfer Pokemon back into Go from your Switch game. However, it was still a really cool feature allowing you to go out into the real world and capture Pokemon, bring them home, and enjoy them in-game as well. So, rather than this direct connection, Sword and Shield, and presumably all future Pokemon games, will exclusively connect through the brand new Pokemon Home app that will be introduced in the beginning of 2020. And honestly, this is an app that we still don't know too much about as far as what the overall functionality of it will be or which features it will include. Next up, we have some brand new information that I am so excited about. It has been confirmed by director Omori in a recent interview that you will be able to access your Pokemon storage system while exploring throughout the wild area. And honestly, ever since its inclusion in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I have been desperately hoping that we would see this feature in these games. It just makes things like exploration and Pokemon training overall so much more convenient, rather than constantly having to trek back and forth between Pokemon centers and the area in which you are either traveling or training in. And it's little nuggets of information like this that get me extremely excited to see what other returning features are making it into these titles. And finally for Sword and Shield news, before we move into those spicy rumors, we have the announcement that the preload is now available in select areas. Now, this doesn't mean that we necessarily have to worry about any data mines or direct leaks coming out, as this cannot be done with preloads, but it is super exciting nonetheless to see yet another marketing milestone reached, to have another reminder of how crazy close we are getting to release. And now, as many of you know, the leaves are falling, the temperatures are cooling, and we're reaching peak of rumor season. So we have quite a few of them to go over today regarding Sword and Shield. First up, for the screenshots that are coming out en masse from in-game on people's Nintendo Switches, which honestly, in my opinion, are definitely fake. As this is such an easy thing to replicate, as absolutely anybody with a Switch and the YouTube app could do so, all you would have to do is go onto YouTube, look up one of the most recent 90-minute playthroughs, and then take a picture of it on your Switch. Like, seriously, it's that easy. So I definitely won't believe any form of rumor like this until we see some images of things we've never seen before in any of these playthroughs or trailers. There are, however, today a couple of text-based rumors, one from 4chan and the other from Reddit, which on occasion can be a little bit more difficult to tell whether it is real or fake. We'll begin with the 4chan rumor, which I personally think is the most likely to be fake. And this goes over a number of potential Galarian forms that seem almost too good to be true, And really, honestly, I feel like there also might just be too many listed here. I could see Game Freak adding a fair group of new forms to these games. However, what's listed here would just be too much with what we've already seen and what could potentially still be. I'll let you be the judge on this one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still really fun to speculate as to what forms these new Pokemon could potentially take on. However, like I said, I just don't think that there's a lot of validity or credibility as to this one being true. Though, that might not necessarily be the case for this next rumor, which is coming out of Reddit and goes over the potential gym leaders of these games. And a lot of what's listed here just seems pretty much on par with what we could possibly expect out of these games already, and nicely fills in the gaps of information that we currently have regarding gym leaders. It also seems very specific, practical, and doesn't attempt to be too grandiose. The only area that really seems off about it to me is the fact that the Dark-type gym leader is named Donnie, as in Donnie Darko? Which, I mean, could be a coincidence, I guess, or maybe a purposefully planned pun, if this is all true. Or, ultimately, this is just an attempt at trolling by the person who posted this supposed rumor. But I guess we'll find out. Moving on from Sword and Shield and into the anime series, we have the first stills coming out from the initial episode, showing a baby Kangaskhan and a Pichu. And the art style looks absolutely incredible. Light, bright, and so colorful. I cannot wait to see more when this anime comes out in just a couple of weeks. And as some of the community has been speculating recently, I would really love it if the fact that we're seeing this baby Kangaskhan and this Pichu in the very first episode, that it would be pointing to the fact that we'll be getting some brand new pre-evolution baby Pokemon in the 8th generation. And finally for Pokemon today, as a musician, I could not pass up the opportunity to share this story. It looks like there will actually be a Pikachu-themed guitar being sold in a new merchandising effort, alongside various other items portraying electric-type Pokemon rocking out in a band together. And honestly, aside from just their musical promotions, I am somebody who really loves and appreciates the fact that the Pokemon Company puts forth a tremendous amount of effort to really switch up their merchandising and keep things fresh for us fans. And now on to Marvel, where it is being reported from an absolutely insane interview with Venom director Ruben Fleischer that essentially, with the Sony and Marvel deal in place and everything now back on the table, the next progression of movies on both ends will indeed be heading towards a showdown between Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And all of this is something that a lot of us fans have hoped for and wished and prayed for so long. I honestly never thought that we would see the day that it would become a reality. And so when the Sony Marvel deal hit the rocks, it looked like it was even less of a possibility. But the implications of this being true are outstanding, as it really opens the door for many of the Spider-Verse characters to come into the MCU, and for the reverse to happen by MCU characters being able to make cameo appearances in future Spider-Man movies. And honestly, I kind of see this as a win-win for all, as these giant corporations get tons of money thrown into their pocketbooks by us loving and happy fans who love to see this kind of connectivity between characters. And finally for today, we have another franchise that's seemingly been infected by the rumor bug, which is Star Wars, where there are crazy rumors abound that many are actually claiming as potential leaks, which claim to point to the possible ending for the upcoming Rise of Skywalker. And this rumor involves Rey, Kylo Ren, and their face-off against the returning Palpatine. Now, I won't break down the exact details, as I don't want to be the one that spoils the ending of this movie for anybody, if these do end up being true. However, if you would like to seek it out, the information is out there. What I will say is that if these do end up being true, a lot of fans could be awestruck by how they end up playing out the end of this entire saga. And many others may be disappointed. I personally am kind of in the middle of the road when it comes to how I feel about these leaks. However, I challenge you, if you are into these kinds of things, to look into them for yourself and then let me know in the comments down below. And thus will conclude today's discussion of all the crazy news and rumors we have coming out from Pokemon to Marvel and Star Wars. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with all of your friends and family. And it would definitely be greatly appreciated, as I am working so hard to grow this into a successful channel and definitely rely on your support to do so. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Professor Noki, signing out once again for Noki Talks.